My fiancé and maid of honor tried to kill me before our wedding. This is how I got my revenge. I was zip-tied to a steel rebar anchor bolted solid into the Mojave Desert bedrock, 10 minutes until sundown, and 4 armed men were closing in. They said my maid of honor had paid them $20,000 to make me disappear 72 hours before my dream Malibu wedding. The plastic ties had chewed through my skin, blood dripping into the 105 degrees Fahrenheit sand and vanishing before it could even stain. My lips were cracked open from dehydration, my throat raw from screaming for help that never came. Coyotes yipped in the sagebrush 50 feet away, and the men kept advancing, laughing as they waved hunting knives. The bride-to-be's fiancé tied her up real nice for us, the lead guy sneered. Said no one's gonna come looking for a girl dumb enough to follow her man into the middle of nowhere. Fiancé. That word hit like a hollow point bullet. The man who'd strapped me to this anchor wasn't a stranger. It was Caspian, my fiancé of 18 months, the 1.8M follower fitness influencer the internet called the golden retriever boyfriend of Instagram. 3 hours earlier, he'd driven me out here, calling it a pre-wedding bonding adventure to strengthen our trust before forever. He'd handed me a spiked seltzer, strapped my wrists and ankles to the anchor, and leaned in like he was going to kiss me until his phone rang. It was Sarah, my childhood best friend, his executive assistant, and the maid of honor for our wedding. Her voice was high and hysterical through the speaker. Cass, I broke a nail during my bridal shoot. It's bleeding so bad, I need you here right now. I can't stop panicking. Caspian grabbed his jacket and ran for his truck without a second thought. I screamed after him, yanking so hard at the ties my wrists split open. Caspian, untie me first. The sun sets in an hour, it'll drop below freezing tonight. Caspian. He just glanced over his shoulder, face twisted with annoyance. Sarah needs me. You can wait a few hours. Stop being so fucking dramatic. Then he got in the truck and drove away. I'd sat there for 5 hours, slowly realizing this wasn't a careless mistake. It was a setup. He tied me up and left me for dead, so he could run off with my best friend, drain my life savings, and keep his perfect, loyal boyfriend brand intact. What they didn't know. No one in my small-town special ed classroom, none of Caspian's fans, not even Sarah knew my dad built the West Coast's largest bail enforcement and fugitive recovery agency. No one knew I'd tracked down my first armed fugitive at 16, took down a Mexican cartel's $3 million asset stash at 22, and that the underground bounty hunting circuit still called me the Huntress. I'd locked my guns in a safe, covered my full-back tactical tattoo with concealer, traded my tactical boots for flowy dresses, and played the quiet, gentle teacher for him. I thought he was my peace. I also never broke a habit from 10 years of hunting fugitives. I kept a micro-tactical blade hidden in the clasp of my engagement necklace. The lead man reached me and grabbed the front of my dress, and in that split second, I sliced through the wrist ties. I drove my elbow into his nose, bone crunching loud enough to cut through the desert wind, snatched his handgun from his holster, and kicked the second man's knee clean through. The other two froze, and I put a bullet in the sand at their feet before they could move. 15 seconds flat. I took their phones, their truck, and their guns. Their texts were full of Sarah's voice notes, bank transfers, and a live chat with Caspian, who'd sent my exact GPS coordinates and written, "Tie her down good. Dispose of her where no one will find her. I'll transfer the rest when it's done." I drove back to LA that night with a fractured wrist, a concussion, and a plan to burn every single part of Caspian's perfect life to the ground. I checked myself into the ER, and 20 minutes later, Caspian walked through the door. With Sarah. Her nail had a single tiny band-aid on it. He saw my cast, my split lip, my bruised and freezing body, and didn't ask if I was okay. He leaned in, voice sharp with rage. Are you fucking kidding me? You ruined our entire wedding prep weekend because you couldn't handle being alone for a few hours? This ER bill is coming out of the wedding budget. We're already over your limit. Sarah stood behind him, fake tears in her eyes. Vera, I'm so sorry. I had no idea he'd leave you there. I just was so scared. I looked at the two of them and smiled. The cold, sharp smile I used to give fugitives right before I slammed the cuffs on them. You want to talk about the wedding budget? That $250,000 you've already drained half of? You're gonna pay every cent back. With everything you have. I walked out of the ER and called Rook, my former second-in-command who'd run my agency since I stepped back for Caspia. I said 4 words. The Huntress is back. Caspian and Sarah had no idea who they'd messed with. They thought I was a broke, naive small-town teacher with no connections, no money, no power. That information gap is what broke them. Caspian's entire world lived and died by his brand. His 1.8 M followers, his $2.5 million athletic apparel sponsorship, his top-selling workout program, his wholesome loyal boyfriend persona. I tore it all down, piece by piece. Night 1, his global sponsorship launch gala. 500 media outlets in the room, 2.3 M people watching the live stream. He stood on stage under the lights, hand over his heart, grinning for the camera. None of this is possible without my rock, my beautiful fiancé Vera. She's my everything. My pure, loyal angel. That's when I hit play. Every screen in the venue, every live stream, cut straight to Caspian and Sarah's sex tapes. Their texts plotting to drain my bank account. The audio of Sarah hiring the men to kill me. The chat logs of Caspian sending my desert coordinates. The stream crashed in 90 seconds. Hashtag Caspian Cheats hit #1 on X trending within 3 minutes. His sponsors dropped him before the video ended, issuing statements suing him for $2.5 million in breach of contract. He lost 900K followers before he even walked off the stage. I sent him a text that night. A photo of my bloodied, zip-tie torn wrists from the desert. Caption: First payment on your desert debt. Night 2, Caspian was already broke. His workout program was pulled from every platform, his management dropped him, his wealthy country club family disowned him entirely. Sarah? She saw the writing on the wall. She emptied his remaining bank account, then reached out to Caspian's biggest industry rival, offering to sell all his dirty secrets, steroid test results he'd hidden from sponsors, fake follower receipts, tax fraud files, for a $100,000 payout. What she didn't know. I'd bought that rival fitness company 2 years prior when I was still playing house. Every call, every email, every meeting was recorded. I arranged a little accident. Caspian, who'd been begging every contact he had for a loan, walked into a West Hollywood steakhouse right as Sarah handed over his confidential files to my team. He snapped. He tackled her to the ground, ripped out a chunk of her hair, and screamed that she'd ruined his life. She clawed his face open, yelling that he was a deadbeat loser who'd used her. The paparazzi I'd tipped off caught every second. The photos hit TMZ before they were even kicked out of the restaurant. I sent him a second text. A screenshot of Sarah's $20,000 transfer to the Desert Hitmen. Caption: Second payment. You picked the wrong side. Day 3, our wedding day. The $250,000 private Malibu beach venue was fully paid for. Every guest showed up. His remaining family, our old friends, dozens of media outlets, even the 4 hitmen, live streaming from a federal holding cell. My team escorted Caspian and Sarah to the venue. They looked ghosts, broke, homeless, facing felony fraud charges, their lives in ashes. I walked down the aisle in my wedding dress. I didn't cry. I smiled. I played every second of the truth for the room. The desert footage, the murder plot, the fraud, the lies. When the video ended, the room was dead silent. Then the guests started cheering. I stepped up to Caspian, looked him dead in the eye, and spoke loud enough for every mic to pick up. You left me tied to an anchor in the desert to die, for a woman who broke a nail. You stole my money, my trust, the life I gave up for you. You wanted a soft, quiet girl to carry you to fame. You got a Huntress who buried you in it. Here's the part you've been waiting for. The $250,000 sale. I didn't just want him in jail. I wanted him to pay back every cent he stole from me. I'd already filed every asset seizure, every lien, every judgment the courts would allow. He had nothing left. Nothing but himself. So I sold his 10-year exclusive labor. Contract to a commercial fishing fleet in the Bering Sea, Alaska. The same fleet that hires felons to work 18-hour days on ice-covered boats in minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit weather, no pay, until their debts are settled. The contract value? Exactly $250,000. The cost of the wedding he ruined. The money he stole from me. Sarah? She was arrested by the FBI mid-ceremony, charged with conspiracy to commit murder. She's serving 25 years in federal prison. 1 year for every hour he left me tied up in that desert. A year later, I'm the CEO of my family's agency. The Huntress is back, and I don't hide anymore. I run a nonprofit for women who've survived intimate partner violence and betrayal, funded entirely by the monthly checks from that Bering Sea fishing boat. I don't wear flowy dresses to hide my tattoos anymore. I wear my tactical boots, and my ink is out for the world to see. Caspian's still on that boat. He's tried to escape 3 times. Every time he's caught, his contract is extended 2 more years. Sarah's in a maximum security prison, no chance of parole. People ask me if I regret it. I tell them this. Karma doesn't wait around. I just hand-delivered it. With a wedding invitation that never got an RSVP.